Yeah, well, thanks for coming. And then the rest of you will, we're going to catch up as much as we can. We're going to catch you up on the short course, the really short course. Let's see if I can get this thing. We had a loading challenge. I think this will work really fast. And let me know, guys, when you can see. So you can just open your mic and just let me know when you can see the presentation. Everybody see that? Perfect. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we want to start fast and get through some stuff because we're starting a few minutes behind. And as is my style, and some of you have been to classes last week. I did a 2-part series, and you know I have a lot of content, sometimes more than should be for the time. So I like to go quickly, and we'll direct you to where you can find stuff that's going to help you, get through this. So yesterday we were here, and one of the assignments was to work on your niche markets, possible 3 niche markets. Anybody give us any feedback real quickly on that? I'd love to hear what your thoughts were. If you're willing to share, open your mic up and give us a shout out.
Hi, Dawn. It's Annabelle.
Hey, Annabelle. Tell me about what's going on. Glad to have you back.
So, my goal, this is kind of what I was thinking. I'll tell you out loud. My plan is to transition to multifamily in the next 5 years. I already own multifamily, and what I'd like, and I own multifamily in Dallas. I'm from California, so I thought the multifamily expert in Dallas here in California. So like trying to, obviously we have to fine tune it, but make that connection. Investors here in California that want to invest in Dallas or in Texas.
Okay, love it. That's great. Did you get more than one, or I know you've been pretty settled on that. You feeling pretty good about that?
I'm like not 100%. I like it, but it's just one. I couldn't think of anything else.
Well, we'll get a chance to talk in terms of John and all that too, so I appreciate that. I see somebody saying immigrants and foreigners. I see somebody talking about Spanish-speaking buyers. Question for Isidro, Spanish-speaking buyers. Buyers and not sellers? Is that because you've not worked with a lot of sellers? You're newer in the business? How did you choose Spanish-speaking buyers? Isidro? Newer in the business. Okay, so one thing I want to tell all of you, because yesterday I noticed we had some feedback from some newer people, and one of the things I would tell you is that because you're new, you've gotten used to buyers. That's what we do. We do open houses to get buyers. We do a lot of things to get buyers. We have our KV core to get buyers mostly. And so one of the things that I would tell you is don't do something that is because you're new, because you're going to end up living with this for a long, long time. So I'll go back. Some of you don't know my history. I'm going to give you the briefest version of that now, and a lot of it will be divulged through the time we're together. But I was starting my career with Jim Rohn. Anyway, I'm going to bypass that to say I started at Hobbs Advertising. We had a big marketing firm, 150 employees, building personal branding campaigns for the biggest agents in the world of real estate. People used to fly in and be here from Jerusalem and from South Africa and from Vietnam. We were kind of a big deal in that niche market with 150 employees. Part of the thing that I saw was that people didn't realize that they had to have these long-term commitments. So I'm going to tell you, our own decision. I came out of Jim Rohn's company. I had dealt with a lot of general business, but a lot of my business had come from real estate. I had big real estate conventions that as the president of this company, I got to invited to speak. I got regional events for big companies. I got invited to speak. And so when I came out, I had lots of options, but I really landed in real estate, so I feel very comfortable there. And the reason I want you to hear that is because it's a long-term commitment. Meaning when people in real estate would bring their spouses who were, interior designers or attorneys or whatever they were, they go, wow, this stuff would work for me too. But they had to translate out of realtorese. We committed ourselves to real estate. We didn't want to be generic. And I'm going to suggest to all of you, yesterday I didn't say the word, but today I want to remind you, when you claim a niche market, what you're basically doing is saying, here's the people I want to attract, and everybody else, I don't necessarily want to push them away, but I want to I want to really have a focus that people know why to call me, and I'm not just trying to get to everybody. So it's really, really important for you to, the word I use is sacrifice. You've got to sacrifice markets you're not going for in favor of the ones you're going for on purpose, in the moment, etc. And so again, I said all that for Isidro, but it really wasn't for him. It was for anybody who's kind of thinking, I like working with buyers. Well, you've never worked with sellers primarily because you're newer and it doesn't feel as comfortable yet. Brent Dusty, your golf courses. Golfers are fanatical. It's a great market. People have specific, they love being around the right hole, on the golf course properties, all of that. By the way, you get to have fun golfing with your friends and clients and write it all off. It's not a bad thing to do. Specifically the cancer. So cancer victims, I'm guessing people recovering from cancer, survivors. I think that's awesome. The question will be, and I want to just throw this out to all of you, think about where do you find your client base? So once you start getting into, here's 2 or 3, that's why I asked you to come up with 3, because, you may find, okay, after analyzing it, they're all great. I would enjoy them all long term. It's just, how do I find these people? Where are they that I can find them and really build a database that's substantial? Lakefront, I love that. That's very easy to find. It's geographic. It's around a lake. You can find those addresses. Very simple. I love that. So again, it's not a matter of good or bad. It's really a matter of better or easier potentially, and not as easy. And then if it's not as easy to get a list or easy to build a list or easy to find that list, then it's how much does it cost me to build a list? How long does it take me to build that list? And pretty soon I've taken a lot of time just getting to start. So I would just urge you to really think through that. And again, I'm seeing, generally speaking here, I love it because what I'm seeing is you guys aren't doing the traditional buyers, sellers, FSBOs, expireds. I mean, that's the way realtors think, not the way consumers think. And by the way, dog lovers, I love that. People who love dogs are dog people. People that are cat people are cat people, bird people. I mean, and believe it or not, does that have anything to do with real estate? No, but does it attract them? Does it make the relationship with you easier? Does it build rapport? And the answer is absolutely. So I think things like that, as much as we look at it and say, I just don't, know if that's going to be a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. So thanks for doing your homework. I appreciate that. We can we'll take a look at some of those after it's all over. I'll go back and scroll through, see if I've got any thoughts for you. But I want to get kind of started on today. I'm going to do a quick review, like a really fast review of some of the things we did yesterday. And again, knowing that we started a few minutes late, I'm going to try and finish on our normal time, and yet that may not be possible. So Randy, if you're still in the room, and I hope you are, you can probably just give me some feedback or a private message saying, is there anybody behind us? If there is, I want to be very sensitive to time. If there's not, we may just run a few minutes over and then take some Q&A. 4 objectives for what we're going to learn. Number 1, how to shift your self-image to allow you to show up in the world. Why is that important? Because you're running for election. You're running for office. You're running for, out of the 10,000 or 3,000 or 5,000 agents in your community. And if you're in a small community, 300, 500, 600 agents in your community, you're running for the one that people are going to pick. You're not trying to just get the lead that comes in through the internet. You're talking about, how do I get people to call me and say, hey, come list my property. You got to show up. And I had people yesterday, as we talked about that self-image piece, that wrote to me and said, it really hit it on the nail head for me, because I really don't like showing up, and can I do it without doing that? And I'm like, no, how do you win an election and nobody knows you? How do you get seen? If you're a secret agent, you're broke. So you've got to figure out how you can get through that. And it's inside, it's not a reality. Somebody said yesterday they were interested in keeping their privacy. I'm like, you picked the wrong business. Exit, go find a job that nobody's going to be searching for you. But if you're going to be in real estate, you're going to have to step into that. Next, we want to talk about building a business versus doing some business. And most agents do business for a lot of years, never build a business ever. And that's one of the things that I really want to show you, that marketing is, like Kristen said, privacy. What's that? Exactly. Then there's strategically choosing markets and marketing options, which is really where we're headed today, in the building a winning marketing campaign. And I'm going to give you the tools and the pieces and talk about some of the execution details. And so that's where we're headed today. We talked yesterday about 4 elements to a marketing campaign. If you weren't here, here's the 4. Number 1, you got to figure out your target market. Number 2, it's about strategy. The piece that most people miss, well, first of all, most people don't have a target market. They're like buyers and sellers, everybody. If I see them in the grocery store, they're mine. It's ridiculous. The target market's first. Most people don't do that. What most people really never do is have a strategy. What they do instead is they just look for tools. What's the magic ad that guy's got? I went through a program and they showed me this thing and I bought the thing and it doesn't work for me like it worked for them. Why? Because the tools aren't the answer. It's the strategy with the tools supporting the strategy that really makes it work. And finally, of course, is execution. If you don't implement, you don't execute, you get nothing for your effort. Now, I'll offer all of you a chance to take a picture of this, a screenshot, if you will, of this. This is a lot of tools in when you think about yourself as a media company or somebody that's going to really think like a media mogul, a media person, an elected official. By the way, that election. That all comes down to, here's the options. How do we get our message out? How do we get seen, get known? How do we have people know us, like us, trust us, and remember us? Well, it's going to come from something in here. So you can take a quick screenshot. We are not going to go through all these things. There's no way to do that. I also talked about the fact the industry is under attack. And part of my response there was under attack from lots of outside forces that are technology money coming into our area and generating leads, which then they're selling back to us. Now, is that under attack? You bet it is. They're taking your market and your money because we acquiesced and said, well, I don't know how to do that, so I'll just buy my leads, or I'll just do whatever it takes. And I mentioned a guy yesterday that actually spends over $100,000 a month with Zillow, which to me would be one of the greatest travesties of all times. So what I want you to hear loud and clear is this. If you're in real estate, and I'm going to say, if you're with EXP, yes, for sure. I'm a big fan, a huge believer. I mean, this is unlike anything. But I'm talking real estate. I'm talking your career. If you're in real estate, you're in the right place. You are in $1 million a year business. And if you're new and you say, well, someday I'd like to, in the next 10 years, whatever, think short term and really think in terms of how fast can I grow it? Because as we talked about last week when we were doing time planning, business planning, and all of that, when you start really compressing time, you start to realize that you can build faster than you knew. Now, the interesting part is most of us overestimate what we can do in a month or a quarter or a year and far underestimate what we can accomplish in 5 years or 10 years. And so a lot of times it doesn't feel realistic. And so we set smaller goals. But listen, smaller goals will get you smaller results. So you're in $1 million a year business. Now, I don't care what market you're in. I've got, right now, we've got somebody that joined our team. She may be here in the audience for all I know. I joined our team in a small town of 18,000 people last year, volume $18 million. This year, she'll probably be in the $25 to $30 million range in a town of 18,000. That's not highly unusual. I've got lots of people like that have done things in small places. So don't get limited to, well, in my market, nobody does that much. I don't care what anybody else has done. The 4-minute mile hadn't been broken, then it was broken, then 52 people broke it in a matter of a year. So all you've got to do is be the one that's on the edge and makes it happen. Then we talked about your winning mindset because it all starts with you. And just to kind of reiterate that I started my career at 18 years old with Jim Rohn. If you don't know who he is, look him up. He's very findable on YouTube. And mentor to myself at 18 through 26 when I was president of this company for 2 years and left to go start my own company. Tony Robbins was there with us. The Herbalife guys were there. Mark Victor Hansen of Chicken Soup for the Soul. We had some cool people that we hung around with. And all of that came in my early years. I had a chance to get a really good start. And most of it was around mindset and attitude is everything. Jim said, the world as we see it comes through the filters of our attitude. And probably one of the great things we noticed during this last coronavirus time frame, this last couple months and still moving forward, is how many people got lost in the panic and the fear. And listen, guys, the highest vibration in the world is gratitude and love. The lowest is fear and hate. And a lot of people fell into either one of those two low vibrations, and they hated the policies, and they hated politicians, and they hated what was going on, and they hated, and they were in fear and scared to death. And guess what? That puts you in a very bad place. So let's see the possibilities from this. Let's see what's possible here. Let's see what we can do with it. not what we can do after it's over. Someday it'll be over. Someday we'll get back to the norm. Well, I'm telling you, we may not get back. We may be in a new norm. We may be creating. And my question for you is, are you making a new norm happen? Are you creating your new norm? Because I made a point last week, which is we've got to figure out how to dislodge our personal economy from the overall economy, because the reality is one has nothing to do with the other unless we make it all about that. So I'm going to keep moving forward here. And, you know, if I could kick you in the comfort zone, I would absolutely kick you, just kick you out of the comfort zone, which is where all the magic happens. We get so comfortable. We look around and say, you know, what are other people doing? We don't copy realtors. Most of them are broke. So we don't want to follow the followers. We want to create the leadership role and make sure that people are saying, how do I keep up with her or him? And then we talked about the cash flow quadrant and 4 ways we get paid. Employees, all of us have chosen probably not to do that. And we've got the self-employed, which is kind of under the watchword, I do it. If it is to be, it's up to me. I'm a one-man band or a one-girl band. And, you know, if I'm going to do something, I got to make it happen. And then, of course, I've always kept pushing myself to get to the place where we got people to move to, I don't know, somebody playing with my slides, move them into the business owner, which is that B. And finally, for the first time, instead of it being all to me, and by the way, if I don't sell, if I go on vacation, I don't make money. If I get sick, I don't make money. If I don't, then I don't make any money. The business owner owns something beyond them. It's me and others. It's we. And then, of course, the I, the investor, is when we start letting our money work for us and we start leveraging our time through other people and through money. And, of course, we have a chance to do that through our stock and, of course, our rev share. So we have a great opportunity that most people never have. In real estate, people have typically one income, which is their sales. If they don't sell, they don't make money. So, you know, I just kind of wanted to show you that. And I talked about the history of lead generation. I put something fun in here. Yesterday, I found this picture before we started, and I was talking about floor time. In the old days, floor time. Anybody old enough? Maybe not old enough. Been in real estate long enough to remember what floor time is. Yeah, so, yeah, one person. So 2 people, all right. So what I did is I put a little caption to this because this is agent floor time circa 1955. But what I also added was, of course, for some of you that were in the audience looking at the picture going, what is that strange thing on her desk? It's a telephone, by the way. And then, of course, you want to put all those people onto your schedule, which is, in that case, a little flip chart. And then, ultimately, we want to put them into our database, which looks a lot like a typewriter. So we've come a long way, baby. But unfortunately, most people are still operating that same way. And that was my point. My point was floor time was a matter of somebody else advertising and getting the leads. And then we wanted the leads. Where do we go? Who's got the most leads? What company should we join that's got the most leads? Well, that's an employee mindset. And so I want you to start thinking outside that box and really thinking about this idea of having people call me, know me, trust me, and call me and say, hey, come list me. Come list my property. Come sell our home. Come show us property. Yep. So that's really where we want to be. And by the way, I'm saying, what is the 4th portion of the marketing plan? What is the 4th one? Execution. Yep, execution. All right, so we're going to get out of the fun stuff and the things we've been talking about, but the reality is, again, the ad on the left is typical what was happening in advertising in the 80s and 90s. What's happening on the right looks drastically similar to it, and it's called Zillow. So have we really moved that far? No, we've given up the power, and now we are getting people to choose houses, and we're the lucky agent that comes along with it. That is not called branding. It's not called marketing. It's called buying leads or getting leads from people who have no allegiance to us. We wonder why we have bad leads. They're not bad leads. They're just not, they have no allegiance to us. There's no loyalty. So when I ran my search yesterday about, you know, real estate, and I forget what city I pulled, but look at the top searches. We start with Zillow, Trulia. I mean, all the lead aggregators that have used your data to fill their coffers, selling you information that you had in the first place. And that's really the dilemma that we face. So think like a marketer. I'm just getting ready to finish up this review of yesterday. Think like a marketer. Rethink your marketing and think like a media company. So you've come to the right place. If that's of interest to you, that's what we're going to talk about. We talked one last thing here about winning marketing strategies. and that you are the brand. And if you are the brand, then you've got to remember it's not your company brand that has to mean anything. And I don't mean that against EXP, because I think the brand is growing and getting bigger and bigger all the time. That's not the issue. What Glenn Sanford set out in the beginning, what the executive team has said all along is, it's not our brand that we're worried about. You don't need to market us. We want you to market you. And we give you full permission to do all of that in our company, which you cannot do, by the way, if you're at Sotheby's. You cannot do if you're at Compass. You cannot do certain things over there. Why? Because they don't allow that stuff. They want you marketing their brand. Well, of course they do. That's how they make their money. So I'm telling you today that you really need to consider who owns your mind. Yesterday we did a fun little exercise talking about 5 major brands, and the end result is the brand is called you. So we checked off target marketing yesterday. We checked off strategy yesterday. Now we're getting into tools and execution and implementation, and that's where we're going. If you did not join our Facebook group yesterday, shame on you. Big mistake, I think. There's no charge, and in there's just things like yesterday I loaded the PowerPoint from yesterday. We loaded the live presentation from yesterday. We live streamed it, and there's always things in there. There's tools and ideas and people that are really cool, and you can scan that QR code, or you can just go to Facebook groups / Facebook.com/groups / expert partners, or just search for expert partners. You're going to find us. Okay, ask for to join, and we'll get you in there later on this afternoon after we get done. So now we're into the tools. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna take a deep breath. Everybody take a deep breath. So any takeaways, any thoughts related to what we just said? And I'm gonna take like one. Anybody, hand up, thoughts, ideas, ahas? Anybody alive, can you hear me? Facebook groups. I'm in love. Awesome. We're having fun. Frank is an old client of mine from the Hobbs Herder days. Frank, nice to have you here again. We love that. Need to learn Instagram. Yes, you do need to learn Instagram, and Instagram is only one of multitudes of tools. Don't get hung up on Instagram as your salvation, because it's not. Everything is with having it all together. Okay, so let's start with the real basic stuff. We didn't talk about this yesterday, and I finished and I was like, I got to put that in there, because I see so many people doing stuff that makes no sense. And like we got to figure it out with our domain name and our email address. Let's get the real basic stuff down. So domain names. Your website should not stay under EXP. You should just get your own domain name, and then you just route that to yourdomainname.com, whatever that happens to be. And if your name is available, and some of you have unique names where it's probably very available, you want to get that. You want to get yourname.com. And so again, really simple to see. I see you have a logo. Sorry, I missed that. I'll get to it. If your name is not available, you're Bob Smith, and it's been taken 55,000 times, then you're going to go with like first name Bob sells Frisco, or Bob Smith sells Frisco, or Bob knows ATX is Austin, Texas. It's going to be something related to that. Or by the way, some of you came up with niches, and so it could be something like your domain name related to your niche. Don knows golf properties, or golf properties in Texas. But I want your name in it. So that's actually a bad example. Yes, Martha Vasquez is perfect. Tampa Bay to Beach Homes, I think that's what it says. Yeah, but I want your name in it if at all humanly possible. And I'm going to tell you, Debbie Cole, if you're open to the idea, I would get anything that says Gmail out. I'm going to tell you as we climb in. So let's talk about some of the email addresses. I've seen screwy things like realtorshelly222@gmail.com. You kidding me? We look like total amateurs. Jody sells Frisco @gmail.com. I like the idea of Jody sells Frisco. The problem is it still says gmail.com. Everybody knows it's free, and it doesn't look like it's yours. And I'm going to tell you that don't let the first part be the discovering thing. It's the last part. It should be Jody @Jody sells Frisco, if that's what you're looking for, right? So you get your domain name. You have everything forwarded to your Gmail account. We get all of our stuff into our Gmail account. All of our accounts are Gmail accounts, but Don@donhobbs.com, AG@AllisonGaddy.com. I mean, those are our our, yes, G Suites. Those are our things that allow people to find us very easily. The challenge is when you've got this, you know, Bob Smith 227-8396G at gmail.com. It's like, it's insane. How am I supposed to remember that? How do I have any idea to connect to you? So again, the things that I've seen that go wrong, those are amongst them. Oops, I just hit the load button, and guess what? We tried to load one of those goofy, I may have just set myself into a course that I can't get back from. How about that? Let's see. I may have to do this again and start all over.
While you're doing that, Don, I have a question.
Yeah, Annabelle.
How do you establish that? How do we get rid of the Gmail and establish that Annabelle@AnnabellePreco.com?
But once you've got your domain name, there's a way to connect your email through it. You'll do that through GoDaddy, and
okay.
Yeah, so it'll be very simple for you.
Got it.
And now we're starting all over again. Okay, welcome guys. Nice to have you here. Thanks for coming. I guess we can skip that part. Just joking, guys. Nobody's laughing. Frank says it's called 301 redirect. There you go. Sorry, this was not supposed to happen. I made the mistake of pushing one of those links, and guess what? When you put .com and you hit the link, it tries to go there. So even if it's a bad idea, there you go. So cross out everything here. We don't want to have any of that stuff there. We want to, and okay, so now we're going for first name dot last name. We're going for that if we can. We're going for something that's close to that. If not, I've got people like my old friend in Chicago, Steve, and Steve Cohen couldn't find Steve Cohen. It was already taken, so we did Steve at stickwithsteve.com. I ran into him last year in Chicago, and he said, I've had it for 20 some years. Everybody knows. I see him in restaurants. They go, hey, stick with Steve. I mean, it's like his brand is absolute. He's been that for all these years. How to handle difficult first and last names, absolutely. If your state allows it, that you can use a name that's not your name legally, I would do that. If it's something where you've got a shortened name, and again, the state will allow it, first names are awesome. If you can just go with a first name, something that's easy to remember. Or like I've got a friend that I just took on as a new client, and his name is very complex. He's from Kazakhstan, and he goes by either Beck or AI, and we'll probably work with one of those two. We haven't started his marketing yet because we just started coaching this week. But that's really going to be the way that you're going to have to think through. How do I get something that's very simple? Because if your name is hard, and I've seen people try and say, well, here's how to pronounce my name. That doesn't help. It's really hard. So we've got to figure out how to get you to a place where it's easy for people to find you. How about Karen Cares? About what, Karen? Is not related to real estate. I'd love to have you somewhat related to real estate in some way, shape, or form. That's why I always like those ones that are simple, like Steve sells, ATX, Steve sells Houston. I like smaller communities, but anything that you can do that's smaller like that's going to be great. Okay, so niche related domains. So Jody at Jody Smith, okay, that's the obvious.
Don,
yes.
We're still seeing the first slide. Could you make sure that you're either moving it or you let us know what slide number we should be on? Thank you.
You have to refresh your screen. You have to go up to the top right of the screen. There's a little refresh because his is moving along fine.
I've already done that, but I'll try it again.
Perfect. I was told yesterday that it was more on the viewer's side than mine, so I hope that works out. So we've got a couple last minute things. We talk about the emails. Let's make sure we've got that all figured out. And then ultimately, folks, you've got to figure out what it's going to look like. I mean, Jenny at Jennings team, if you're a team, it's like that's super simple for people to get, right? It's easy for them to absolutely get there. And then we finally finish off with logos and brand design and all of that, where we really kind of drive home that. And I showed you our brands. Allison and I have 3 companies and 3 brands, and you'll notice they look very similar to each other. Why? Same color schemes. It's our family of companies, and so we wanted to make sure that we kept those things. Okay, now, so we've got the obvious things that check your email and your domain names. Second is get your brand put together. Third, find your cause. Find your cause. What is your cause? Cause-based marketing is a huge part of our society today. It's a great way to grab attention. And what I'm going to tell you with that is, again, I don't know what you stand for, what you love to support, but whatever it is, if you do it in a more public fashion, you might find people will join your cause and want to do business with you because of what you support, because of who you are in the heart level, right? So find your cause. I mentioned yesterday, I told you guys a story that I was driving through the city streets of Denver, Colorado, past this guy on the street corner, and I said, somebody sent me the newspaper later, and I went through page 4, which was the article. I think it's page 4 or page 3. I think it's 4. And when you read the article, after you read about him being a 3rd generation Coloradan and a 2nd generation Denverite and all of that stuff, what you finally come down to is he does sell real estate for food. He gives 10% of his commissions to the food bank of the Rockies, which was brilliant because in Cherry Creek, that community in Denver, very high-end, old money, governor's mansion. I mean, like the happenings are there. Are they into charity and fundraising? Of course they are. Did he hit it on the mark? Absolutely. How much did it cost him for the front page of the newspaper, and all of one page? How much did that cost him? And the answer is nothing. So realize that he's paying it 10%, yes, after he gets deals. And that's what makes it so powerful. So again, sometimes cause marketing like that can be so powerful. Allison's stuff, you saw her, I think her brochure yesterday. This is actually the old version of it, so I had forgotten to change this out. But what's cool about it is you can see where she's got her cause, which is Austin, the Austin Angels, which is the local foster children, keeps a lot of kids from, getting into that 18-year-old status and then having no place to live and then become homeless and teenage pregnancy, all that stuff. We give to that, so it's 5% of her commissions goes to Austin Angels. Next, your brand and print collateral. And I did say print, so I want to make sure you guys heard that. But I said print, your brand and print collateral. Why is that? Why would you want print? In a world like we have now, why would you want print? Because print solidifies. When you show up to the listing presentation, you've got cool stuff. You look good. When you send your pre-listing package, when you do a marketing job on expireds and FSBOs and send things to them, and it's high quality and it's your brand and consistent. We've seen your signs around. We go, oh, this is not just another realtor prospecting our for sale by owner. This is him or this is her. And absolutely builds trust. Yes, very much, Kristen. So there's a few tools that you absolutely need. I'm going to tell you they're foundational. The fact that you'll use them in so many ways, and that is number one going to be your direct mail piece. Where am I? I think I just skipped. No. So first thing you're going to need is a personal brochure. I don't know why that's not in here. A few tools. Okay. Print materials impact in these situations. Direct mail, absolutely. Is anybody doing direct mail? Yeah, a lot of people are. And by the way, if you're not doing direct mail and you're newer in the business and have the capital to generate, to put things out, I will tell you direct mail is absolutely the most phenomenal way to absolutely take control of a marketplace. So how's that for contrary to everything that people are talking about these days? It doesn't mean that video is not awesome. It doesn't mean social media is not critical. I'm just saying that in the end, and by the way, these print materials that you do, because you've gone through the branding process and all of the cool stuff, you've got those things that you now use in social media, that you use in the online version of your marketing. Open houses, when you show up to open houses, what do I get? I show up at yours, I get a flyer on the property. By the way, notice the words, flyer on the property, a brochure on the what? Property. What's your brand? You are. Who's your brand? You are. What do you have on you? I don't know, nothing. So you're going to use these things for pre-listing packages. You're going to use them for post-listing materials. All of that is going to be your way. Now, these two, this husband and wife team are part of our group within EXP. I don't know if they're here in the audience, but this is their personal brochure. It's beautiful. It's engaging. It's got a great story to it, which we talked yesterday. Here's their business cards. So again, notice the tie-in. Notice the complete, fundamental tie-in to their stuff. their yard signs. I mean, it's clear when you see their things, it's like, oh, them again. Oh, it's them again. Oh, it's them again. You could spend the same dollars sending out the same mail, handing out the same pieces, and if they're not branded and don't have that continuity, people go, oh, a realtor. Oh, look, a realtor. Oh, look, a realtor. And there's no connection. And that's how we spend the same money and get no response, no results, and no brand built. Here's their postcards. And by the way, they actually have 2 different postcards, which is unusual. I like it. They're both branded to the same people, and they're both very similar structure. And the difference would be, seasonal. And so it gives them a chance to really do things. So here's your power. I call it a power postcard. It's your postcard. So it's oversized. This one, I think theirs happens to be 6 by 11, but I could be wrong on that. I favor 6 by 9 or 6 by 11. 5.5 by 8.5 is pretty standard stuff. And I also know there's people using old-fashioned postcards, like little teeny ones. I'm going, stop it. Don't do that. That's the worst. So 5.5, 8.5 is the smallest you should be using. If you're doing every door direct, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, you'll see that it's the same cost to mail smaller or larger. It doesn't really make any difference. And then the one thing I would tell you is once you've got this template, then all you simply do is overprint whatever you're going to overprint into that space. And so again, the template sits with your printer. The template sits in your marketing back office, whatever that looks like. And then you just slap in the stuff that you need, and you'll see the way that we highlight them. By the way, cool things like this, where again, it's very much them. They went through and got the stats over this last coronavirus time. This was 1 week stats in Austin, Texas. And when people were calling and wanting to talk to their clients, but not wanting to come off as Mr. Real Estate, what they were saying was, hey, how are you? How's your family? How are you doing? How's life? How are you guys doing okay together? Having some fun with them and just checking in. And when the person turns around and says, how are you doing? How's your business? And you go, well, first of all, I'm with EXP, and believe it or not, I had all business operations as normal because that's our style. And then the second thing is the market here is sizzling. It's crazy. Like just last week we had 1,261. So you use your stats, but you can also mail these. You can also post that. So again, these are things that are just your look, your designs, your tools. It's like having a box full of tools, a toolbox filled with tools, or a toolbox that's got a hammer and a screwdriver, and that's all you got. You're not going to build much. So if you've got lots of tools, you got more options. This is their KD Core website. And by the way, when you look at the Power Postcard, it's the driver. It's really the driver for anything that you're doing. So again, that's Allison's new version for one of her brands. And I would tell you that personal brochure is a very powerful tool. I've had people literally stop from leaving an open house or stop from driving away and read this and walk back in and said, wow, we were reading your story. We really think you're a real pro, obviously. And would you consider taking us on as a client? How's that for different than we're running out the door, giving wrong information and hoping you never call? So again, when you start having tools that stand up for you and make you look good, you're going to find yourself in a great place. Next, number 5 is going to be your digital business card. So, business cards, I had lunch right before this meeting started today. I had chicken. Believe it or not, I have actually had a piece of chicken in my teeth as we talked. Sorry to say that out loud. It's too much information, probably. What's my favorite toothpick? Somebody's business card they gave me at a meeting yesterday, right? They're in my pocket, boom. I'm laughing and also saying it's true. Business cards are etiquette. If you don't have one, people go, what's wrong with you? You're weird. But if you do have one, they don't go, wow, honey, look at this. She's got a card. Nobody's impressed with a business card. Now, Doug and Jeanette's that I showed you, impressive. They look beautiful. Absolutely. Catch your attention. Absolutely. When they send you the Power Postcard and a handwritten note saying, thanks for stopping by my open house. Or when they send that out and say, hey, it was a pleasure seeing you last night, and thanks for letting us have the opportunity to represent you in the sale of your home. And they see the tie-in to all the folders and all the pieces that you showed them, the marketing stuff, and they go, wow, she's a real pro, or they're a real pro. You start winning. But the digital business card is one that a lot of people miss. We favor the one by LFI, Shuffle by LFI. But again, there's a lot of them out there, and I don't know if John Morrison's in the house, but this is actually his. So you can see what happens is you actually have a business card. It's a digital. It's an app, And then what starts to happen is you scroll down, it's just like your website. And then finally, by the way, when you get down to the bottom, it's got links for other things. But notice this, when I went to go look at John's card as a result of this, what came up was he gets a little ding on his phone that says, a new card view, Don Hobbs viewed your John Morrison eXp Realty card. So he gets notified in the moment. Don went into his business card and looked at his site. You think that might be valuable information? Probably. Not bad. I saw, Annabelle, you were saying that you couldn't see it. I don't know if you refreshed. How much does it cost?
Yes.
Yeah, it's very little. I believe it's like $10 a month or something crazy like that. Yeah, no big deal. Okay, I'm giving you one more chance to get into our Facebook group. If you did not already get in there, please do. I'd like to have everybody in there today. Yesterday, I think we had about 50 people join, but we have like 150 people in the group. So I'd like to have you get in there. You'll really enjoy the stuff that's there, and we're going to keep feeding you with great stuff. How many are enjoying today so far? I know I'm going fast, but how many are enjoying it?
Loving it.
4 people. Okay, all right, we got it. Yep. Ah, there they are. I see. Okay, guys, well, we got a lot of ground, so I just wanted to do a quick check-in. Plus, I need to take a deep breath. So this is where I landed. You know, in 1986, when we started our company, we were the branding company. There was nothing. Nobody was branding anybody. So we created everything you see today is kind of a hybrid of something that we started back in the 80s that we took on and perfected through the 90s and the 2000s. People would come to our seminars and go, you guys are amazing. And I'd say, well, who's really amazing is our team, because they were the ones creating all this cool cutting edge stuff that really made everybody look good and was really having great success. We were creating success stories that were like 3 times, 4 times, 5 times bigger than what anybody believed was possible. We had people doing 50 million when 10 and 12 and 15 was huge. We had people doing 100 million when people were getting to 30 and 40 and 50 million dollars finally in big cities. And it's because leverage comes through your marketing. Marketing is working 24 hours a day. Marketing is working when you're not. Marketing is working where you're not. It's happening all the time. So your job is to figure out, how do I brand myself so that next year my brand's even more known than this year, and the year after it's more known than next year, and the year after that more known than next year. And the bottom line is, every year your brand grows in value. Right now, as your business goes, yeah, maybe you get a few more referrals. You know, last year you did 10 deals, this year you do 12 or 13 or 15. And I love it when people say, I work off of referrals only. Well, that's great, but if your volume isn't where you want it, you can't increase referrals with a database or a group of past clients, or a sphere that's not big enough. So what you do is you have marketing on your side, you start building a following, you start getting way more people, and what starts to happen is they start being proud that, you know who my realtor is? Yeah, it's that guy, you see her everywhere. That's who we use. That's our realtor. And the fact is, most people don't have a realtor, and your job is to win that election and become the realtor. So let's talk about a geographic farm. A geographic farm, how do you do a geographic farm if you're an investor specialist? Well, an investor specialist is typically on the buyer side, so you don't do a geographic farm. And again, therein lies one of those things, right? You're making choices, and then can you live with the choice long term, and is that a long-term strategy and all of that? It's tricky. I mean, everything has its advantages and has its disadvantages. Your job is to figure out, what's the strategy? Here's the group. What's the strategy? Here's the group. What's the strategy? So very much important that you start making choices that are wise. That's why you're in the how to make wise choices or smart choices for your media brand. Okay, so this is where old school meets new school, or becomes new school. And the reality is, if you're really looking at this, what you see is that the way it's always been done is postcards. And by the way, what postcards? Mostly that scream the brand of the company. Now, I'm going to tell you, we have a great marketing department. We've got some cool tools, but recognize one thing, and I'm not knocking this. I'm saying this is really good stuff, high quality, and really much oriented towards EXP. So if you've got no other choice right now, that's okay. That's what you're going to use. But if you really want to start building something, it's probably going to be your brand. So notice that template pieces like this, they only allow you to slap in your name, your picture, your stuff, and then it's kind of the interchangeable body part. You're just the interchangeable part. Or even worse, like this was Edina Real Estate up in the Twin Cities, and they built this beautiful set of things, which I hate recipes, but they built this beautiful set of things, and on the back side where the agent is, it's black and white. So the beautiful part is Edina, the really crummy part is, you know, the realtor, and of course the agents pay for this stuff. So it's really kind of hard to understand and justify why that happens, but it's because we don't have a better plan. If we don't have a better plan, somebody will have a plan for us, and we're giving up some of our power. So I want to make sure you guys really hook into what's possible for you. Somebody said the volume is off or the sound is off. Is that me or is that you?
We can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Susie, or whoever said that. So what do we send? If we're doing a geo farm, what are we sending? I won't say it in order, but I will say these are the pieces that I think are most important. Your personal brochure and your power postcards. And then I'm going to give you actually a look of some other things to send. But those two things, they've got to have the same look. They've got to really be in unison with each other. So when I start to see your stuff, and by the way, when you start having some success and I see your signs and I go, wow, I see her stuff all the time in my mail. Oh, there's her signs. She's selling everything in sight. Then when you start sending me the market updates and the just solds and the just solds and the market updates, I'm going, wow, she's selling everything in sight. Now, if you're new in the business and you're saying, well, I don't have all that, I'm going to tell you the magic thing. The magic thing is you take one of your postcards and you put a thing that says market updates, and you go into your MLS and you pick 3 homes or 4 homes or 2 homes that recently sold. And you put in small print on that postcard, information derived from multiple listing service. And you don't say, I sold them, because that's not true. But in states where it's legal, and there are states where it's not allowed to use anybody else's, in most states, of the 50 states, almost all of them allow you to say, these homes recently sold. So what are you giving them? You're giving them data. You're giving them information that's valuable to a homeowner. Now, we're in Texas, we're a non-disclosure state, so we can't give pricing, but we can say these homes sold in your neighborhood and call me for pricing. Call me to find out what your home is worth, right? So again, the power postcard is going to be a big deal. They're going to have to match up and get a real similar look so that your cards, your brochures, your website, your YouTube channel, everything has that sameness. And of course, you're using, you know, open houses. I mean, this stuff drives through all of your area. I want to also deal with the idea of circle prospecting versus more traditional, quote unquote, farming, if you will. I made the air quotes. I know you didn't see me, but I made the air quotes. They don't have that movement on our avatars. So the power postcards is that absolute universal piece. It's repetitive. You're going to use it a lot. If you're mailing to an area, I would say 80% of your pieces are going to be power postcards. So if you're mailing in an area, and then you say, how often? We're going to get to that. By the way, also on your power postcards, not just listed, sold, market updates, not just that, you can use them for sending to your past clients. You can use them for, by the way, I call past clients forever clients. For your open house attendees, they come through and you write them a little note on the way out the door as they leave. You go, hey, I'd like to drop you something. Would you mind giving me an address? Now you put that in, all of those in the mail when you go home on Sunday or Saturday, and they end up arriving on Tuesday. You look great. Past clients are forever clients. Okay, let's talk about mail. So there's 3 ways you can get your mail out there. Wow, how come you guys all pop back in? Are we done? What's the expectation, guys? Aren't we going 90 minutes?
What did you say, past clients or advertisement clients?
No, forever clients. F-O-R-E-V-E-R. Forever clients. Past clients.
Oh,
Forever clients. Can anybody give me the feedback? And I thought it was 90 minutes both days. I pray to God it is. Yes, 90 minutes. Thank you. I saw you all pop back in. You were little stick people. Now you're like really there. And I'm like, wow, I'm ending now, apparently. All right, so we got 3 ways to get our mail out. First class is pretty expensive these days. I actually don't know how much it is. We never send mail, and so I don't have a clue. Bulk is A lot cheaper. It's in the 33-cent range. And then this UPS thing called Every Door Direct. And if you do not know EDDM, you are making a huge mistake if you are really wanting to communicate with a particular farm. Now, if you're doing a demographic or you're doing some kind of a psychographic niche market, you know, cyclists, golfers, you know, some of the things you drive, investors, you can't do Every Door Direct because it's a geographic thing. Your male man or woman, your post person is going to deliver them as they would all the other mail, and you pay very little, just under 18 cents a piece for mail. Which means today, in 2020, it is actually cheaper, because printing costs are down too, it's actually cheaper to do direct mail today than it was in 2000. And the best part is it's highly effective, way more than it was in 2000, because in 2000, lots of people were doing direct mail. And what happens now is if you look in your mail and you get something from a realtor, it's probably the only piece you've seen. We've all migrated to the free and to buying leads, and in all that process, just a little less than 18 cents, Mariah. Every Door Direct. You can look it up. It's United States Postal Service. That's your post office. Go to EDDM. You'll find the program in there. We'll give you all the details. It's really cool. There's a map, and you just check it out. So here's what it looks like. EDDM. And so you actually go in and choose your farm. Ooh, come back. You actually go in and choose your farm. This is very exciting. Okay, hold on. I'm going to get there. I don't know what it looks like on your side, but on my side, it's going crazy. Okay, so you go in and you pick an area. So let's say you had a geographic area that you wanted to go for, and what you would do is you go find that area and say, okay, I'm going to take that area, these streets, from this street to that street, and that street to this street. I'm going to take that area. I'm going to go into Every Door Direct's map, and I'm going to see how that corresponds to the mail person's, the mail carrier's routes. I'm going to find as much overlap as I possibly can. It may mean I don't get to everybody I wanted to get to. It may mean I'm going to get to 90% of who I want to get to. It may mean I'm going to get to 110% of who I wanted to get to, meaning I'm getting some addresses outside of my area. Okay, so if that's the case, I'm going to go through, and as you see here, I'm going to select. It adds them up for me, tells me exactly how many homes are in those two areas, or that one area, or these three areas. And then it's going to actually price it for me. So you can see there, it's mailing to, I can't see if it's 1,600 or 1,800. It looks like it's 1,874, $333. So again, not cheap, but very inexpensive compared to what the damage you can do to control a marketplace and dominate a specific area. Very cool tool. By the way, Canada's been doing that for years and years. They've had their version of that. We never did. I thought it was a foolish thing that we didn't have that. And finally, the mail service, USPS, finally developed it. So here it is. So there's your map. You go in there, you click on it, you'll see it highlight, and it's super simple to use, and we'll give you all the details of how to make that work. Okay, so who do you send to? So again, you send mail. Remember, we're talking about geographic farming, geo farm, but there's all kinds of farms. You can do a geo farm, a demographic farm, a psychographic farm, socioeconomic farm. Hannah, go Canada. I know, I loved it. We used to travel up there all the time. I go, you guys have got the smartest system in the whole world. And we can't figure it out. Anyway, now we figured it out. One of the best things the Postal Service has ever done. One of the few things they've ever done well. Did I say that out loud? Did I say that in my indoor voice? Who are we going to send to? So you're going to have to figure out who you're sending to. Remember that a geographic farm works with Every Door Direct. Everything else is not that way. And it usually is going to be revolving more around a kind of market, a type of market. If you're mailing to a geographic farm, here's a couple of things you want to consider. How big does the farm need to be? So I will tell you, there's plenty of agents that would tell you they farm 300 people. Oh my gosh, 300 people. Let's talk about it. The typical turnover rate right now in our country, and I have no idea what it was during coronavirus, but prior to coronavirus, the average turnover out of 100 homes, 5 homes are turning every year. If you're really in a hot market, it could be 7 homes turning. So if you've got 300 homes, there's 7%, there's 21 homes turning. You're not getting them all. There's 21 homes available to sell. And everybody's getting a little market share. And if you got 30% of that, means you got 6 deals. Now, if 6 deals is enough for you, that's great. But the thing you discover there is that suddenly you're in a place where I'm spending all the time, effort, and thinking and process and strategy and all of that with a maximum capacity. It's 6 deals. So just know that if you were able to send to 3,000 people, which I know costs more, I absolutely get that, then how many would that be? And the answer is a whole lot more. So what we need to do is figure out what's our goal, and then we need to figure out the size. The frequency is an interesting thing too. We were advertising yesterday some of the big brands, the McDonald's and the Taco Bells and the Nikes and all that stuff, and somebody said, they advertise constantly. Absolutely. Do you think there's a secret there? So the truth is that they advertise constantly. How often do realtors advertise? Well, I sent out something last quarter. I sent my direct mail piece. I sent my farming newsletter. I emailed last month. I mean, they didn't even see it. They have no clue who you are. So Kristen, I'm going to go beyond once a month. I'm going to tell you that if you really want to start something, and again, this is not for everybody. I'm going to move on to some other things that you can do besides farming or geographic farming. But if you're going to geographic farm, you're going to start first 8 weeks. First 8 weeks. Okay, anybody ever hear of a thing called the 8x8? That other company with the black and red, they talk about it a lot. And that's because we coined that. We built that in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, and they kind of grabbed it and ran with it and called it the 8x8. Well, the thing is, the 8x8 is said, I'm going to send 8 pieces in 8 weeks. And that's how I get established. Literally at the end of 8 weeks, if we were to do a checkup on your name, your brand, and I was to say, Larry and I know each other very well, whoever said ninja selling. Larry and I have been friends, Larry Kendall and I have been friends for 35 years. So if I were, going after that marketplace and mailing in that area, what I'm going to do is have my frequency beat up yet, and that is 1 piece per week for 8 weeks. Well, I'm going to let you off the hook and tell you I'm okay with 6 pieces in 8 weeks in today's modern society. 6 pieces in 8 weeks. But at the end of 8 weeks, if you were doing the 6 or the 8 pieces in that time frame, we did a little checkup on, do you recognize the name Betty Smith? What you're going to find is this. They're going to recognize your name at a level of typically between 35 and 50% recognition. If you take those same 6 or 8 pieces and send them out over 6 or 8 months, we do the same checkup. Do you recognize Betty Smith? And they go, no, have no idea, never heard of her. So the difference in the compression of time, that compression of mind share gets you a lot more, and that's why it's worth spending the money. Now, if you're doing a geographic farm, your signs mean a whole lot, because if your signs show up with looking like everything else you do, then suddenly you start seeing that, and your website and your postcards and your mailers and your emails and everything starts to have that same look, that same feel. I think somebody's private messaging me, and that's awesome, but I'm probably not going to get to them for a second, so hang in there, guys. Where to send? Where do we send? We're going to send, I said where? Listed, sold, postcards, all that stuff. Okay, great. So look at what this says. It doesn't matter. I'm going to send it to everyone in my farm. So if I chose a farm and it's got 500 homes or 700 homes or 300 homes, whatever it is, and I choose that farm and I take a listing 2 cities over, where am I going to send that postcard? And for a lot of you, you'll say around the listing. It's called circle prospecting. The challenge is if you've committed yourself over here to this market, niche market, and you've got something over there, first of all, one could argue, how many babies does a neurosurgeon deliver in a year? You probably shouldn't have taken it in the first place. You probably could have referred it out, taken a split commission, stayed on track where you are with what you do. I'm just saying. Second is, if I'm going to mail anywhere, I want to mail to my farm area. What if that property is a different price than what our properties are? Then leave the price off. What if it doesn't look like the property's over here? Then leave the picture off. I'm just trying to get to these people an excuse for sending them something, which is I just sold something or I just listed something. And that's why it doesn't matter if it's in or even close to the farm, I send to my farm anyway, because all I care about is building one brand in one place. I'm going to dominate and control from that space. All right, number 7, we're going to start moving faster. We got a lot of ground and we got, wow, 25 minutes. So ongoing communication with your forever clients. There's that word again, forever clients. Your database, by the way, and low-hanging fruit. What's low-hanging fruit? Expired FSBOs, things that are kind of just out there to be done. Remember, we talked yesterday about the fact that while you're building a brand, you still need to do the stuff that gets you deals today. Because if you don't get deals today, you don't get to play tomorrow. So we want to keep doing things that are going to get us now business. Remember that the now business is not the same strategy for getting future business. It's a never-ending cycle of starting over and starting over and starting over. So if you don't have a database, you got no business. You don't have a marketing plan, my opinion, you don't have a business. If you're basing anything that you do and it's not marketing based, my personal opinion is it's not a business. Forever clients, I'm going to suggest to you that you mail them once a month. This is your forever clients. So it could be a small group, could be 10, 12, 15, 25, 50, 200, 300, 500 past clients, people that are your forever client list. They're going to mail them once a month. Something that acknowledges them for being a forever client. And using that phrase, by the way, that's not a bad thing. Lets them know how you see them. You're going to email them 12 times a year, once per month. And again, if you haven't cleaned up that database, make sure you have emails for everybody on your mail pieces. Give them a reason to go to your website to register for something, a free this, a free that, and capture their emails, reload your database, get it all cleaned up. And then finally, you're going to call them 12 times a year. So you're going to call them once a month. I'm going to show you what I would suggest for doing that. We talked about this already. And by the way, you're going to put all that stuff in your KV core and let your CRM, artificial intelligence work for you. And it's going to keep dripping on them and talking to them and all the things. But remember, if they're not searching for property, if they're not in there interacting, they're not going to get anything from AI. So you've got to keep things going their direction and make sure that you're doing all that you need to be doing. But if you want to touch base with your database, I'm going to give you a couple really cool tools. Number one is called Slide Broadcast. Has anybody here ever used Slide before? I'm looking for one hand. Nope. Okay. Oh, there we go. Perfect. So Slide Broadcast is an interesting thing because with Slide Broadcast, I get to leave a personalized message. It's not personal. It's not, hey, Don, I'm sorry I missed you. I'm looking forward to catching up with you. It's not that. This is, hey, it's Don here, and I just wanted to leave you a quick message. I was thinking about you over the weekend. Didn't get a chance to call you then, but I wanted to call you today. And by the way, if while I'm doing this, my dog is barking in the background, all the better. I want to make it sound less scripted than anything I've ever done. I want to stumble on myself. I want to make a mistake, because if I was leaving a voicemail, I might not have an exact script for what I was leaving. That's exactly the impression that you want to leave. So with Slide Broadcast, I can record that, and then I can take the part of my database that I want to receive it, and I can send it out to 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people. Now watch it when you start getting the big numbers, because more than likely you are abusing the do not call list, which is why you only want to do it for your past clients, your forever clients, or your close in spirit. Then there's the thing called Easy Text. And I just understood from somebody. By the way, Nadia is asking, does it automatically go to their voicemail? Yeah, that's what's so cool about it. Carrie is saying, what if they answer the phone? They don't. It absolutely goes straight through. It may ring once or twice, and it goes straight through to voicemail. Even if they pick up, it goes straight through. So later, I get a call back, and somebody says, I don't know how I missed your call, dude. I got your message, but I don't know how I missed it. I was right there. And suddenly your message showed up. So, they may have a thought about it, but why would they assume that you would be not calling them personally when they know you and you know them? Why would they not assume that? So what you're doing is playing on the personal relationship that you've got, and you're leaving something. And by the way, at holidays or at Thanksgiving, say, hey, it's Don. I just wanted to really leave you a message. I was thinking about this. I was talking with Allison the other day about how lucky, how fortunate I feel to have the business I've got and the clients that I get to work with. And you're one of them. And I just wanted to say, hey, if you get a chance to call me back, please do. If you don't, enjoy your family time and have a great Thanksgiving. I'm grateful for you. See you soon. And I leave that message. They don't think it's a voicemail. They think it's a personal message. Sounds extremely heartfelt. So I want you to really get into this idea, because Slide is one of the best tools you could ever use. And then, of course, Easy Text. And I understand the KV Core now is allowing us to send text. I have not checked on that, but I put it in this morning just to make sure that if it is, that you guys know that. I think it is. and that we can use a texting service that we can text to people and do mass texts. And again, not spamming, not going through all that stuff, but with people that I know. And the more personal I can make it, the more I can make it feel like it's personal, the more people will actually believe that I really did that. So here's your slide broadcast. It's actually two products, slide broadcasts. They're both in the same company. And again, they tell you how many people got it. They tell you, how many were completed. And by the way, those calls, 500 calls, 300 calls, 600 calls, boom, they're done now. You send them out, they're done. It'll take you the whole month to get to 600 people if you actually allocate the right amount of time, and you're going to do it in seconds. So again, I suggest that during the holidays, sometimes you're calling people that are very personal to you and keeping them off the big list. But I would absolutely connect with a lot of people through something like that or easy text. So a couple things that I wanted to finish up there. Also, we talked about expires and FSBOs, and when we're starting to think about, having a marketing approach. And you know what I'm saying, marketing approach, not a sales approach, not, hey, I see you're selling your house, and I'd like to come by and see you. I mean, that's a lame script, but not that, but a marketing approach. A package arrives, a folder arrives, and then a mail piece, and a mail piece, and a mail piece. And for expireds, it could be 10 pieces, 11 pieces over 10 or 11 days. You just send them out, send them out, send them out, send them out. By the way, yes, first class. And then with FSBOs over a period of weeks, so that over a period of weeks, we're dripping on them, dripping on them, dripping on them, showing them our value, showing them what we've done, showing them our sold, showing them our value. They start noticing our signs. Why? Because the RAS, or reticular activating system, that's seeing your stuff, starts to notice the signs out there and going, oh, that's her, that's her. Oh, that's the one that's been, maybe we ought to consider it, right? So you're marketing your way to expireds and FSBOs. All right, number 8. Everybody take a deep breath. Relax your hand for a second. How many are getting lots of notes? Yep. Okay, so let's go back to work. Number 8, social media. We're gonna get through as much of this. I hope we can get through all of it. Social media. So social media, I'm gonna cut this a little short, but I'm gonna tell you a few things that I think are essential. And the beauty about social media is it's so rich. There's so many things you can do that actually, Facebook unto itself. In fact, Facebook advertising unto itself is a study. Facebook marketing through groups is a study unto itself. I mean, there's so many pieces to social media. Instagram is a separate thing. YouTube, video, I mean, all these things are separate. So there's no way. This is why I lived my whole life doing a 3-day program, because you can't do all this stuff in a short session like this. But I want to at least whet your taste buds and really get you going in this direction. So under social media, remember that consumers expect any or in all businesses they work with to engage on social media. So when I hear realtors saying, I just never liked Facebook, I'm like, get over it. You're in business now. When it was about what you didn't want to see, or you didn't want those battles about politics or whatever was going on in your Facebook, drop those people off your friends list. They're idiots anyway, and then move on. But you got to get into Facebook. You've got to get yourself out there and be seen. Facebook is by far the biggest. Millennials, who are using the most active, are the most active Facebook users. They also happen to be the largest group of home buyers today. So again, that's not a bad thing to know. There's 4 strategies I'm going to give you, and literally I have all kinds of stuff in each one of these, but I'm just going to give you the 4 strategies as a big picture. And that is, number 1, create a game plan for your social media. The hardest part is when every day you're doing whatever you think is next, and I don't have a thing, what shall I send, what shall I post, So have a plan, put it all together. Pick an appropriate channel, so whether it's Facebook or whether it's going to be video and YouTube, but it's going to be Facebook Live, so you're going to do a lot on Facebook. Pick the appropriate channels that you're going to have. I'm going to show you some of the channels that I think are the best in real estate. Learn to use each channel, because each different channel, Instagram is different than Facebook, owned by Facebook, but very different than Facebook. So you've got to make sure that you're really looking at all the different pieces and parts. Number 4, manage your social media time. How do you do that? Number 1, you stay off of social media from a look-see standpoint as much as you possibly can. Do it in time frames that you block for that. and mostly you're going to schedule your social media stuff. That's going to be the best approach. So here's the channels that I believe are probably the most relevant today, and I just added TikTok in the last couple of weeks, and I'm going to tell you that I don't understand TikTok. It was a riot during coronavirus time. If you wanted to laugh your butt off, you could go into TikTok and see some goofy things. But I know there are people that are figuring out how to use TikTok for business. I'm not that guy. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, those are probably the three biggest in the social media channels as we know them. Twitter's obviously been a factor for a lot of years, but there's a lot of people that do not use Twitter, but it's tying into all those other things anyway. YouTube is the second biggest, what am I trying to say, search mechanism in the world. So YouTube has radical appeal. And then of course, Pinterest, Snapchat, and then left TikTok to the end. So those are the biggies. If you want to get into the three biggest for most of you in business, depending upon what your market is, again, your target market dictates which channel you're going to be looking at. What group's going after Snapchat? What group is going after? So these are your decisions to make based on what? Your target market. That's why you have to know your target market. That's why it's so important to pick one. Because otherwise, any social media will do. Every social media will do. No social media will do. It's the same, right? Because it doesn't matter. You don't know who you're getting to. So in the end, we've got this game plan here for you. That'd be a great thing. All you need to do is set it up so that you've got each week of the month, each month of the year, and you start laying those things out. And this week, I want to do 6 posts over here. I'm going to do 4 posts over here. We're going to run a contest over here. We're going to do whatever. Run all that stuff out and put it on your list. Let's stop long enough to talk about Facebook groups for just a second. We've seen some great success during coronavirus time. We saw some tremendous success with Facebook groups, at least amongst my coaching clients. This is a long-standing friend of mine who's done a remarkable job up in Canada. She's got a group called MAFE, Milton Area Female Entrepreneurs. I don't know if anybody here is from the Toronto area, but she's done a great job of this because what she built was this Milton Area Female Entrepreneurs, and she's built it in a way that this is her marketing platform. This is what she does. She built a group of female entrepreneurs in a very restricted area. And by the way, the only reason I have access is because she knows me and I'm a marketing guy, so I'm able to pull. But there's like nobody in there that's not a woman, and nobody in there that's not from her specific area. And she's very selective about who she lets in. How many realtors do you think are in her group? Oh, that's right. Nobody else. Lots of people in all kinds of different businesses, similar to each other. Only one realtor because she's controlling it. And by the way, when you look at this, she's got over 2,100 people. I can't read the number, it's too small, but over 2,100 people. So this is her farm last year to the tune of just short of $1 million in commissions from one farm only. This is her farm. This is her thing. They do groups, meetings together. They do a lot of cool stuff. That's not her. They do a lot of cool stuff. And all of that is happening in MAFE. They do monthly meetings. Who hosts them? One of her members at their place of business. So she pays for nothing and she gets all this value, and she gives a lot of value through the group and the belonging. Here's a client of mine, current client of mine. She did a remarkable job. In fact, she just did a video last week, and she said, talking about 3 things she did during coronavirus time to really amplify her success. And she's like, fought my coach for 2 years. Thank God I finally gave in. This group was my saving grace during coronavirus, because every day she was doing a little fun thing about some contest, some goofy thing that they were doing, and they had a lot of participation. And by the way, last week she did 5 deals last week, 6 deals the week before that, and they're in complete lockdown. They're in Kansas, and they've got their complete lockdown in Kansas City, and she's still doing deals. So I'm telling you, this thing is remarkable if you actually learn how to appeal to your group. So here's what you want to do. You might take a screenshot of this. To grow a business or a targeted group, what do you want to do? Hey, listen, you can offer coaching or training videos. So if you're doing like a business group, if like my friend with MAFE, right? So she's really trying to offer suggestions on how to do better business. So she has speakers come to the monthly meetings that are hosted by one of the members. She pays nothing, and she gets all that value. Coronavirus ideas, clearly that's something that still for the foreseeable future, this is still going to be a conversation, whether it's in your state open or not, we don't know, but I'm telling you, still part of the conversation. Financial support ideas for coronavirus time. Group meetings, Zoom, or sponsored if it's, in days when we start convening again at restaurants and things. New members, hey, welcome to so-and-so, she's a new member. Group birthdays, hey, we want to wish happy birthday to, and she's got 2,000 people, by the way, every day. My guess is she has between 4 and 15 birthdays going on every single day. So again, great place to wish happy birthday. Group needs, hey, so-and-so's looking for a whatever. Hey, so-and-so's got a charity they're going to do. Hey, so-and-so's got a charity event. And I wanted to post the link, the site. All of that stuff, creating value for the people that are in there. And then of course, best practices for that target market, whatever that happens to be, whether it's a geographic farm for a community, whether it's a business group, whether it's a community group in an area where you're highlighting businesses for that community. Those are all some of your options. And then Shannon, this is her, so you saw her goofy thing she did every day with her, puzzles and draw pictures and, see, what does she call it? Show your roots day. So she actually had a camera view over her head and you could see her roots because she hadn't been able to go get her hair done. This is her business page. And notice it's quite different. Or is this her business page? No, this is this is that site. This is that group. But she also has, there it is. There's her pajama day and there's her, funny dog pictures and what are you doing? What's the goofy stuff you're doing? And can you draw on windows and, chalk day and whatever. So she did all these fun things. But she's also got her business page, which you can actually see is much more business oriented, appointment schedules, blah, 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 all that stuff. So again, these are the differences. Business pages, community pages or groups where I can get people to really come in and give them value. A page that's more informational. So again, these are the decisions you're making. Number 9, plan 3 annual promotions. We are going to run out of freaking time. I cannot believe it. Okay, so plan 3 annual promotions. I'm going to tell you that right now during, I keep going. Thanks, Debbie. As long as you're here, apparently everybody else will leave and it's just going to be, Debbie, thanks for checking that. Nobody after me, so we can go on a little longer. I don't want to take forever. So as we open up from coronavirus, we'll have certainly more opportunities. But listen, we've been doing happy hour Zooms for the last month and a half. We've had great success with those intimate groups, 12, I say intimate, 12, 15 people. We did them for realtors because that's our target market. I've seen people doing them for groups. I've seen them doing dinners together. I've seen people do, one of our friends did a Philippine recipe that was emailed out to everybody in her farm, and then they made it and then got on the Zoom together and were experiencing what they had done wrong and right with the recipe and having like Philippine night. It was very cool stuff, right? You can have happy hours, you can do movie nights. How do we show up in this way? How do we give people some fun stuff to do? And once we're out of coronavirus time, yeah, absolutely, Flag Days and Easters and first run movie days when Tom Cruise's new Top Gun comes out. Trust me, it'll be a blockbuster. Will we be open by then? I don't know, but if we are, I promise you, renting out a theater and giving people access to it on a Saturday morning after it opens will be cost effective and massively successful for you. So things like that can be a real bonanza. And by the way, speakers, putting together a function, having somebody come and speak, whether it be a lender, a financial person, a coach. I did a lot of seminars on time planning and business planning and all that for a lot of realtors who sponsored me, would go to the community, bring in hundreds of people to learn how to do that, and they got all the accolades, right? That's the kind of stuff that you can do that's going to get you a lot of play. And my other friend up there in the Milton area, in the Toronto area, Amy Flowers. Amy does the Amazing Race Milton, phenomenal success, crazy, fun, exciting. I mean, that girl rocks, and that's the kind of stuff she does. All right, number 10, we've got only this one and one more. I want you to get to 100 reviews as fast as you possibly can. And if you are new in the business, I want you to take heart, because when I say 100 reviews, what that could mean is 20 people putting their reviews in 5 places. So you want to give them the places, But the bottom line is your goal is to have coverage no matter where people find you, that there's somebody saying great stuff about you. And that's going to be really important for you. So some of our favorites, your website, obviously, and Reach 150. I know that Fidelity Title uses that. Fidelity Mortgage, or not mortgage, but Fidelity Services uses Reach 150. Lots of realtors I know use it. It's a very powerful thing. Bolts on to your computer or to your website, and gives you the ability to run cool stuff on there as a stream. Google, of course, if you've got your Google business page, you want to have your reviews underneath that. LinkedIn for sure. Yelp, I'm not as big on. To me, Yelp is not as much a realtor thing, but I know there's people that really want coverage there. Zillow, yes, the Eagle Empire, I understand, but log your sales there and have people put stuff there, because even though we don't want to use Zillow, people are going to go to Zillow, and we want to make sure you're represented there. Realtor.com, I mean, any of the big sites that you can get reviews on, I would absolutely do that. By the way, here's what they look like when they start raving and ranting about you, and what it starts to look like when people can feel so confident, because they aren't thinking that you're some rookie. They're going in and going, wow, she's awesome, or in this case, Brad's awesome. And they can see that from what other people are saying. And again, this is where you start getting the real power of endorsement. All right, final. Y'all got you got 5 more minutes in you, everybody? Say yes.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
I can count on 4 of you sticking around. All right, good news.
Yep, absolutely.
Love it.
Here.
Yes.
Somebody just got up and cheered. I saw that. Good job. All right, so there we go. There's your survey. Please fill it out and give me high ratings. We want to keep coming back and have them invite us back. If you think this is good stuff, I got a lot more where this came from. So please give us some good ratings and tell us how we can get better, and give these classes for Excel a real feedback, because this Excel series has changed the game. I think that Curtis and Dave and the people in this department have done a remarkable job. Okay, so they're going to need a SWAT team to get me out of this class. Alexander the Great. Good job, Alexander. All right, so here's what I'm going to tell you. We're going to get the slides. We're going to post a version of these, not the real super detailed, but most of it's going to be in the Facebook group. So again, our Facebook group, just search for it, Expert Partners. I'll have it up later on today. You'll also probably see that this was streaming, I'm guessing. And of course, they're recording it and they're going to edit it, and it gets up usually by a few days afterwards. So you should be able to see this again next week. All right, so finally, let's close out. Using video, multimedia, and to build authority and rapport. Listen, guys, video. I talk to most of my coaching clients every single week and say, I need more video out of you. I need more video. Get more video. So I want to take you through, if I can get it to stay in one place. You're going to build your brand and boost credibility when you're using video for some simple things, like to show your personal life. During coronavirus, people kind of exposing themselves and being home and being with their kids and just being natural. Zoom calls, all those things were ways for us to see you in a different light. And the human side, right? The relationship, not the pro, but the human that I like. And so it's really a great place to show it. Open houses. If you're going to hold an open houses, I will, yeah, somebody just said, I can't believe the impact video has. The engagement is hundreds times more effective. Absolutely. But by the way, when you start getting people to watch your stuff, so the more you build your brand, the more you do things that are going to, hey, somebody, turn your microphone off, please. Local business impact, local impact on real estate or community. So don't report the news. The news is on the news. They're probably watching it. Report the impact on your community. So hey, we've got here. We just said Google. I've heard rumors about some monster companies are moving, but Google's here, Apple's here. They're opening a new plant. When you start doing that, what's the impact on the community in this area? You go stand on the site and go, hey, I'm standing on the site where the new Apple facility is going to be. I'm telling you guys, it's going to be amazing. You're going to employ 4,000 people in this facility alone. Real estate around here is going to explode. If you need If you need information, questions about it, please let me know. You know, that kind of stuff, right? Just go right in and absolutely control that. And by the way, local businesses. Hey, here's my friend Giuseppe, and Giuseppe's got the greatest pizza in the whole world. Giuseppe, we're so glad you're open again. We missed you, man. We missed you. I want to get everybody out here to support you so we can drive your numbers up and get people in here again, and let's get your business back to healthy. And Giuseppe, how far have you been here now? In that kind of a local business focus. Also create your YouTube channel. Brand your channel. It should look like all your other social media, which should look like all your other things, which should look like your signs, should look like your business cards, should look like everything you do. Consider your niche in everything you do. So don't just shoot video for video's sake. Shoot video that's related to the target market. If you're going after families and kids stuff and things you can do with your kids when you're at home on coronavirus, or homeschooling, or whatever those things are, right? Consider your niche. Go out to the golf course and talk to the local pro and say, you know, hey, we want to get people out here on the golf course again. I heard that we just opened this week, so everybody's gonna be Jones and the out here. We're so excited that you're open again. You know, do some videos like that. What should be the focus of your videos? Well, that's based on your target market. Okay, so you might want to take a screenshot of this because this kind of incorporates a lot of things that we've been talking about all in one. Number one, what's your avatar look like? Who is your audience? What's my subject or the situation I'm discussing? I just saw what's my subject? What's the subject that I'm discussing? And talk about that. Hey, so in this video, I'm going to be doing a piece on blah, blah, blah. Might be a frequently asked question, a question we hear all the time. Is the market fast and furious right now? I mean, that set of stats that I showed you for Jeanette and her husband, Doug, that set of discussions, I mean, that's a great thing. Like, people are asking me, how's the market, Don? I'm telling you guys right now, it's unbelievable. It's actually shocking to even me that it is what it is. But just last week, for example, we had 1,261, and you go through your stats, right? So what I'm discussing today, you want to tell them what you're discussing. What can I give them as a solution? By the way, what we're discussing today is how to get financial aid from the $465 billion that was out there. And I want to give you some solutions. Underneath the video, you're going to find some links. Check it out. I want to make sure that you all stay healthy financially, and if we get through this together, you know, those are the kinds of things. Grab the viewer's attention. I started playing with this. I had fun with like using my hand in front of the camera or whatever, because when people are looking at it those few seconds and they're looking and going, what in the heck is going on with that? It stops them, and that's all you want to do. And by the way, remind them what you're talking about. So at the end, hey, this is what we've been talking about, and if we can do anything to help you, if there's questions you've got, reach out and get a little pitch in there for calling you. And then there's this one which says, you know, when you think about video, we think about shooting video. Listen, going live. Live is available now on Facebook, on Instagram, on IGTV, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and of course, there's all kinds of things like we're using. What's our new? We're Be Live, and we're using what's the new one, babe? With Allison sitting right in front here. What's the new one we're using with the Sunny? Do you remember? Somebody type it in there. Not Facebook Rooms, no. Anyway, I'll get it for you before we hang up. It eludes me right this second. Want to make sure that you know that, you know, the market updates, stats, listings, sales, inventory, average days on market. No, not Verbella, Jeremy. Thanks for the thought, though. iSpy 360 Tours, great way to shoot video, use video. Again, not in the same sense of going live, but very effective. If you're not using the 360 Tours, I think you're really missing out, especially right now. But again, we're never going to return to not using that stuff. We're in a new era. Sorry. Wow. I don't know what it looks like to you, but I skipped 6 slides. Here we go. Finally, video to forever clients. I started doing some birthday things, just like shooting in the morning. Hey, buddy, just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. It takes like 15 seconds. It's nothing. We were doing birthday posts. I had somebody in the Philippines that was doing my posts and doing a really nice job of getting that done. But I thought the more personal approach was going to be better, and so I started doing my birthday wishes on Messenger, and that's been my best. I'm getting lots of feedback. Everybody responds. It's very cool. frequently asked questions in real estate. And of course, on the personal side, fun you're doing. We just took pictures of us being out on the lake the other day, family time, real life stuff. They want to get into your world. They want to get into your life and know who you are at a different level. And of course, there's also right now, we have a great opportunity to do podcasting and create a real following around some expertise or some flamboyance that you have that really gives you show quality or star power. And along with that goes credibility and everything else. And by the way, who do you have on your show? Local business people, local politicians, local people that are important to the community that can give real meaning. And by the way, some inspirational stuff. You might even do some first responders. There's a lot of things you can do when you do your own show. All right, guys, so I went down to the last 2 slides here. I take a screenshot of this one because I really want you to get, this is a big picture, but this is not really related as much to marketing as it is related to kind of a picture of what do you do to get going and to keep business going while I'm growing, my business stable while I'm growing my brand. My brand's going to be solid in a few months, much more solid in a year, much more solid in 2 years, much more solid, right, as time moves forward. Right now, what am I going to do? So it's never just one marketing piece that's going to work for you. It's everything. It's how you integrate. I wanted you to read the 1,000 True Fans. Recommended it yesterday. Great book about how do you develop 1,000 true fans. If you have 1,000 people in real estate who think of you as their realtor and they would think to call you to list or buy, you're going to get rich. You are already one of the most successful people in all of EXP in the world of real estate. I promise. Remember that there's riches in the niches. Become the digital mayor, which means you're going to do a lot with building community. That's the Facebook groups, your video, etc. And then, of course, leverage tools. Leverage tools. How do we leverage ourselves? Through marketing and through tools like Slide Broadcast, Easy Text, and BombBomb. And then this little hint for quick hits, which is, again, how do I get quick business going? I'm gonna Slide Broadcast all my past clients and my sphere. I'm gonna take 5 minutes every day at 8:30 in the morning, and I'm gonna take 5 minutes and text 3 people. Hey, Jenny, just was thinking about you, wanted to say hi. Hope you're doing great. Would love to hear how you made it through coronavirus and all the things about your family. I hope everybody is safe and healthy, and I look forward to connecting. Hey, Bob, really wanted to connect with you, and whatever I just said. Same thing, cut and paste, put the name in front, send 3 texts out, and away you go. Send 5, whoops. Send 5 digital business cards out daily, 2 high-quality networking events weekly. So again, you're going to attend the Chamber of Commerce and some sales organization. You're going to get out there and be seen. 2 gratitude notes daily. These are all things you can do now. These are all things that don't require the long term. This is like how you build relationships. Add 3 leads to your database every single day. 3 leads. A new coaching client just started with me Tuesday. First assignment. Add 3 leads to your database every single day. He doesn't have a marketing focus yet. He doesn't have the time yet. We're working on it, but this was a first week. What do? Add 3 leads to your database every single day. Hold a mega open house. Now, again, that's hard to do right now. In most states, we aren't going to be allowed to do that in the same way. But a mega open house means I'm going to advertise living daylights out of it. More importantly, I'm going to put out more signs than anybody has ever seen before, directional signs to get people to come and see it. And then, of course, marketing for sale by owners and expireds. They're here today, gone tomorrow. They're here today, gone tomorrow. They're here today, gone tomorrow. It's like 150 first dates. Literally, that's what we say. Allison and I experienced when she wasn't dating me, but I was dating her. 150 first dates. But you know the movie 50 First Dates? Those people are here today, gone tomorrow. You're calling on them. They don't remember you from Adam, but if you get the deal, you get the deal, and that's good news. So I just want you to really look. By the way, there's a couple things that you can do. Top Agents Ranked is one of them. HomeLight's another one. And I believe Truly and Zillow are both now going the direction of selling their leads. So again, if you have to, what I like about those is I'm paying for the leads after the fact with the referral fee, not paying for Zillow up front, not paying for lead purchase up front. Okay, so just another thought for you. All right, one last chance. Join our Facebook group. We'd love to have you there. How did we do today? How did we do?
Great.
Fantastic.
Wonderful.
Well, here is one of my favorite phrases. And Brent Gove and I were together. Allison and Brent Gove and I were together one day, and we came up with, as I was talking, I said, the path of success is through the fields of failure. And I really believe that while I believe this is absolutely the way that you need to go, I see somebody dancing in the audience. I love that. This is the way that you've got to go to build a business. Remember, it's not going to be all roses and perfection and everything's going to go smoothly. It's going to be frustrating. It's going to be time consuming. If you're investing money, it's going to cost you a little bit of money. I'm telling you that it's not going to be just from here to there in a straight line. It's going to be up and down and up and down. Bad attitude days and hard days and good days and super exciting days. And, one day the faucet's going to turn on and you're going to have all this business and you're going to go, I'm so grateful, so glad that I stopped to do it the right way. And that's when it's all worth it. All right, let's take some questions. We only went 15 minutes over. I apologize. I think we started about 10 minutes late, so I guess I don't feel too bad. But what can I answer for you as we get ready to go? By the way, before I take questions, I want to say something, and that is my mentor, Jim Rohn. He for many, many years, he's been gone now over a decade. For many, many years, he would finish his sessions with 4 questions. And I'm going to tell you what the 4 questions are because I think they're very appropriate for us in this room and us in this company. So the 4 questions are, number 1, why? So why do this much? Why do this stuff? Why make this happen? Why focus on these things? Well, maybe the best answer to the first question is the second question, which is why not? So why not? You've got time and you're going to be here. The thing that people forget, they lose sight. They go, well, I don't have all that time for that marketing stuff. I don't have money for the marketing stuff. Well, guess what? 4 years from now, you're going to be in the same place. And 4 years from now, if you marketed yourself, you'll be in a totally different place. It's the same 4 years. So what I'm going to tell you is burning the midnight oil, putting in the study time, making decisions, doing things that are going to move forward are absolutely going to be worthwhile. So why not? The third one is why not you? And why not you? I can't imagine. We were talking the other day about how people can look at our model and look at this company, all the ways that we get to make money, all the things we have as advantages, all the cool people we get to hang with, the collaboration, the cooperation, the culture of this company, the things that are so phenomenal, and they look at it and they go, no, I think I'm going to stay with my crummy little 15-person company over here that has no assets, no technology, nothing, but I really love my broker. And I'm baffled by it, but the reality is, why not you growing this? Brent Gove has almost 9,000 people, maybe over 9,000 people now. Gene Frederick, 9,500 people. People that have 400 and 500 people. People that are doing 10, 20, 30, 50, $60 million a year in sales. Listen, you can do anything here. You can build a company, you can build a real estate business, you can build anything here. Why not you? And the fourth and final question is why not now? And I would just urge you guys to, don't be thinking about this 3 weeks from now and go, well, I've been kind of contemplating, I've been thinking about what I was going to do, I've been thinking about take action. The first thing I'll tell you is the speed of implementation will create energy, and the energy will create the results that you want. And last week in our sessions, the 2 sessions, we talked a lot about building momentum. You got to go back and listen to those. Randy and the team got those up in part 1 and part 2. I'd go through them. There's 3 hours there. And I would get your momentum building going. I would get that stuff going and watch it impact your life in this now business strategy called marketing. So, all right, I'm done. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. I'll take questions. I see a hand back there. I can't see who it is, but whoever it is, speak up.
Hey, Don, this is Ernest.
Hey, Ernest. You've been kind of a groupie lately.
I've been following you, brother.
Love it. Thanks.
Well, I guess my question is, I can see most of these things applying. My question is, where obviously branding is the first thing.
Yeah.
My thing is 98% is commercial.
I know. I saw that.
2% of residential I do is with friends and family that is for support. But anyways, but I do a lot of referral. Like you, I also market to residential realtors. So that's sort of my geo or my farm of some sort.
I totally get it.
But,
Yep.
Anyways, I guess what I'm trying to say is just some direction on what to focus on. Obviously not the open house thing, and I'm not doing postal walks. Maybe the business. What if you're in my position? I guess best thought, what would you target first, other than obviously branding and my database?
Well, remember that first of all, you've got a great opportunity for business to get to business with video. If you're going after small business, and again, commercial, there's small commercial, there's like retail commercial, and then there's large Class A stuff. I mean, I don't know what end you're on, but if you're in that, then what are those businesses? And if you're out pounding doors and doing the things that a lot of commercial brokers I know do, then how are you following up? What's your brand look like? How are you building that? What are you sending? What are you doing to get them to opt into things that you've got? What value can you bring to them? I mean, I'd say look at what we talked about and don't look for what won't work. Look for what will work. You'll find tons of things in what we discussed because, again, the tools are the tools. I mean, you may use your power postcards different. You may have a different focus for your brochure, but the reality is having a brochure in that world would make a huge difference. I mean, I've had many commercial clients, and I'm telling you, a personal brochure and building a relationship with people and having them see you as a business owner, as a smart person, somebody they can relate to, that they liked, I'm telling you, it makes a huge difference. And most commercial people are just grunting it out, knocking on doors, pounding the pavement, as they say, and doing the traditional stuff. And I'm going to tell you that marketing is still the best answer. So I wouldn't look for how it wouldn't work. I like your question, look for how it can, look for what you can do. But I'm telling you, for one, video and getting a following through video would be a tremendous asset for you. And then putting on maybe some programs, Zoom programs, video programs for business and having people come into that stuff. I mean, that's a grand plan for getting a lot of people to be interested.
Most commercial realtors can't brand themselves.
I think I hear you talking, but I can't hear you.
I said most commercial realtors cannot brand themselves. They have to follow.
Yeah, because they end up joining some silly, cool banker or somebody that won't let them do that. Colliers. I mean, yeah, we're a DXP, and guess what you get to do? You get to brand yourself.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Ernest. Thanks for continuing to come back. And somebody asked if you can do, what was the question? Do you do a podcast through Zoom? Yeah, you can do a podcast through Zoom. I'm still looking for the answer to the question. I can see the duck, and it's the brand new cool thing we're using, and it's called, that's why I can't think of the name. It's called, thought it would just come to me if I just thought about one more thing. StreamYard. There's my girl. Thank you. Allison is, she is a resident tech genius, and she does all kinds of cool stuff. And I mean, she's really the brand builder and all of that for her brand, for her company. And so within the company, by the way, And anyway, she's using StreamYard, and we just started using it. It's really cool. And we just did a StreamYard last night with somebody who actually has a podcast, and we loved it. It's fantastic. So StreamYard is kind of the new version. Be Live has been out there for a long time. That's a good one. Those different platforms allow you to bring in more than one guest in a way that's kind of like in a room, and that's kind of cool. Different than Zoom, where everybody's kind of equal and on an equal playing field. But even on Zoom, you can get a Zoom room, and you can do a Zoom that way. So yes, many options. Somebody was asking about unable to attend part one. Can I get the slides? Yeah, if you go in and join the site, it should be one of the first couple posts that the slides are there from yesterday.
I have a question. I also streamed it in our Facebook group. And
Perfect.
It's our partners.
Thanks.
Hi, John. This is Nadia. Thanks so much for the content. It's awesome. I have a question regarding doing my geo farm. I'm in West Los Angeles, and it's quite sprawling, and within a couple blocks, the neighborhoods could change dramatically. And I really do like the ADU movement. I'm thinking targeting groups like that, or millennials that are first time, second time home buyers, things of that nature. So perhaps square footage would be important. How do I start? Where do I start finding, to niche down? What's a good?
Well, see, that's an interesting thing, because again, if you're talking about geofarming, to be honest with you, geofarming usually refers to the homeowners. So again, let me take you out of West Los Angeles. I'm a Southern California boy. I was born in LA, raised in Orange County, was there until 6 years ago when I moved to Austin. So I know your area very well, but what I would say is this, let me go to Vail, Colorado, and somebody says, you know, I want to work with all the buyers that are coming in from California, or all the people that are coming in from, you know, some other state, Arizona or whatever. And I'm saying you're missing a big point. The big point is, like, 50,000 people live here full time, and you're missing them. And so I would tell you that farming generally is about the homeowner and controlling real estate such that you end up controlling the buyer. The biggest teams that you've got, if they're not buying leads, if they've really built a business, the biggest teams in the world of real estate, they have lots of listings, they have their team holding open houses and generating buyers, and the very nature of having lots of listings, they generate lots of their own double-sided deals because they control the buyers by controlling the sellers. So again, I don't know how long you've been in the business. If you're short term, you know, kind of new, then maybe I can adjust that thinking a little bit. And if you've decided that, then the question is, what can you offer to people that will give them something that they need if they want to research this area, if they want to know more about this area, if they want to, you know, what kind of fun things can you do to get people to pour in? It's a very tough decision, and I think you might spend lots more money doing that than you know.
Got it, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking. Diana's asking.
Oh, sorry.
Diana's asking, Allison, do you know how Linktree is used? She asked the right person. That's awesome.
So Linktree is a landing page for links to basically everywhere that you.
Yes, I'm not sure who answered that, but thank you. Somebody was asking Allison because she knows that Allison uses Linktree. So, babe, if you want to answer the question, you're welcome to. If you want to single Diane out later, you can talk to her whichever way you want. What would you like to do? I mean, it's lost.
Now that's what happens when you get a phone call right in the middle of mobile ESP University. I was Miss T. Gentry. So it's basically a landing page for all of your social media links, anything you want to take them to. And so, like, I have it on my Instagram. So I have one link, and then people that are curious can explore you that way. And it's I think it's link.tree. Just Google Linktree because it's a weird domain.
Yeah, you'll find it if you just do a quick Google search. It's easy to find. It's a big deal. Yeah, there's somebody's putting Linktree. So there it is, linktr.ee, Linktree. Perfect.
Hey, Don, I have a question for you about geo farming. So I am very, very new to the business. Oh, this is Kristen. Can you hear me?
I can, Kristen. I just couldn't see your bubble.
Oh, no, that's okay. I'm on mobile too. Sorry about that. Just because I can always hear better on mobile than the computer. So I'm new to the business, been in the business about 6 weeks. Definitely don't have a huge marketing budget. But I am extremely interested in doing direct mail. So where we live is in some townhomes, and we're kind of sandwiched in between some apartment complexes, and then there's some really nice areas and neighborhoods, a couple miles north, south, east, and west of us, basically. So my question is for geo farming, would you suggest having like almost 2 different campaigns? One's for the apartment complexes, because obviously a lot of those guys could potentially be first-time home buyers, and one for like the nicer areas. And then I have one more question after that.
Okay, let's break it down. First of all, with regards to working apartments, again, very common practice, very much the thought of a lot of newer people. It's kind of almost one of the go-to things for new agents, getting those buyers converted. It's workable. It is, you're dealing with a lot of credit issues. You're dealing with a lot of stuff that's not always fun to deal with. You go through a lot of heartache to get through it. But again, if you go through the numbers, you can do really well in that world. I'm going to tell you that the longevity of your business, and if you look at 98% of all the biggest agents in the world of real estate who have really become successful and still have a life, they control it through listings. So farming, an area where the area is nicer. And again, I want to say something, and I don't know if this is for you, Kristen, but I want to say it for everybody that's still listening, and that is, a lot of times we think that because I'm new, I can't go after higher end, better people, bigger people. I don't know you're new. And by the way, if you have, not to say that everybody's gonna run out and get a personal brochure and get all these tools, but if you think about somebody that got that thing and they're reading about you, they don't go, wow, she looks like she's new. In their mind, you've been here for a long time. Your experience, how do we know? Because it looks like it. It feels like it. So I think the biggest thing for a lot of us is we internalize that we know we're new, and that self-image is what holds us back. And I would tell you that the minute you declare, like my friend yesterday, we talked about Alan Dom, who's become probably worth hundreds of millions of dollars as the condo king in Philadelphia. Alan just declared, I'm the condo king. And then through time, he built it. And before too long, nobody even wanted to screw with his marketplace because they knew there was no possible chance. There were people that had relatives in the real estate business that still dealt with him because obviously he's the condo king. So I think if you really look at it, you can do anything you want. Don't limit to what you think you can do because you're new. All of you, anybody here that's in that situation. Okay? Does that make sense?
That does. Thank you so much. I think that's more of a confidence thing. I mean, I went from working in an industry for 10 years, being an expert in my business, to being, really brand new.
Well, the thing I said last week to somebody who said, somebody who's only been here for a few weeks, and I said, or they were new. And I ask people all the time, and they say, I'm relatively new to real estate. How long? Well, 2 years. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? When are you going to get over it? I mean, at some point you got to say, I'm in this. I've been doing this for a long time. I've got years of experience. Yeah, more than one, right? I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I've almost a year. Like you can soften that, but I think most of it is at some point you're gonna look at yourself as a veteran, and I want to know what day that's going to be. All of you, I want to know what day that's going to be, because there's not a prescribed day. Like at 329 days, you suddenly become a veteran, or at 842 days, you're suddenly a veteran. You just declare it. I've been doing this. This is my commitment. I'm building it. And when you start marketing yourself, you absolutely look like a veteran. When you start marketing yourself, you look like a pro. You look like somebody anybody wants to do business with.
I love that. That's awesome. The only reason why I was thinking about marketing to the apartment complexes right next door to us is because I know a lot of people who live in the area, and a lot of people know me. So I have 2 big Great Danes, and I want to use them for marketing. I mean, people know those dogs. They stop me all the time, even without the dogs, and ask how they're doing. And so that's mostly the reason why I was interested in asking about marketing to apartments.
Yeah, I absolutely love using the dogs. I can tell you story after story after story. Dog lovers love dog lovers, and I can tell you that, as crazy as it sounds, I've seen probably dogs be a common denominator of more successful people than you can actually imagine in real estate. Funny enough, I remember we had a guy that used to come to our stage all the time, and he had 2 golden retrievers, both rescue dogs, and one was a male, one was a female, and eventually they had a wedding, and they actually had people invited, and they had pictures and all that. I mean, he just used that as, and actually it's funny because he said to me one day, he said, I had to get used to the fact that when they call me, they first ask about Chauncey and Maggie and not me, and then it comes to real estate. But the good news is it always gets to real estate. They're calling me because they remember me. And I think your Great Danes can be such a remarkable, memorable hook. So yeah, I would absolutely look that direction.
Thank you. I love that so much.
Apartment building owners, they'll help you.
I'm not sure what somebody just said. You might want to say it again.
Market to the apartment building owners, I'll help you.
There you go. So Ernest wants to work with you on marketing the apartment owners, and he'll help you on the transactions, I'm sure. Somebody just asked a question I wanted to respond to. I do 5% of commission to the client's charity of choice. That's great. I love that. I'm not sure how you advertise it, Tracy. The one thing I said yesterday that I want to remind some of you, and that is, sometimes we do cool stuff for our clients, and our clients really love it, respond to it. Your microphone's on, somebody. They respond to it, they love it. And yeah, Homes for Heroes, I love that too. That's a great charity. But what I would tell you is, if you can't figure out how to market that, then it's not useless. It's just that it only appeals to the people you're sitting face to face, getting a chance to do your listing presentation for, or you're working with buyers that, it's only the ones you get. What I like to see is, how can you demonstrate differentiation in a marketing sense to get more people to call you? That's why when you see people doing wacky stuff and realtors who go ballistic on, listing your property for as low as 2%. Oh, I can't believe they do that stuff and they're degrading the industry. I've had many people around me who did listings as low as 2%. And when they walked out of the listing presentation, which they got because of that, and they had demonstrated a set of value, here's 2%, here's 3%, here's 4%, 5%, 6%, 7%, 8%, and they're walking out with more 6 and 7% listings, but they got in the door because that's marketing, right? So there's a question of, how do we get to the place where we can attract people through who we are, what we offer, and then get there and get to demonstrate our value. Because when you tell me how great, somebody is, that's wonderful. But if they're only getting a chance at 5 or 6 or 8 people a year, they're broke. And maybe not broke, but they're not doing well, right? They're not killing it. Yeah, some people are responding to some of the target renters in the neighborhood of single family homes for new buyers. Yeah, good ideas, guys. Keep exchanging ideas like that. Again, I think that anytime you're working with on the buyer side, you're generally speaking, I can tell you of one agent I know extremely well. I've known her for 30 years, and she was the queen of working with buyers and would do, 30, 40, 50, 60. I mean, in latter years, these last years, she's been doing more like 80 million a year, almost exclusively on the buyer side with her team. And that's just such a rarity, such a weird depth, such a rare choice. I'm just going to tell you that I think that is probably not. There's better ways to work, and typically most of your success stories, your big, you go watch in your Excel classes and all that, are going to tell you listing side. It's your longevity in the business. It supports your having a life, having a balance, and actually gets you just a much better recognition in marketing. I see a hand up over there. Maybe that's still Ernest. Ernest, do you have a hand up?
I did. I just wanted to apologize. You had 4 questions. I was making notes and I didn't catch the last one. What was number 4? Why not? Why not you? And what's the
why not now, Ernest?
Oh, why not now? Thank you, sir.
Good job, Brenda. What do you think about holding an event by Zoom for all renters to give them home mindsets? Absolutely. I mean, if you're going to do home buyers, I think if you're going to work with buyers, I think doing home buyer seminars, you can load those things up all day long. You bring in a credit person, you bring in a lender, you bring in an attorney, you bring in all the people that you think are going to make it all feel really good, and everybody speaks a little bit. You're the primary speaker. You're the one that connects all the dots. You can do great stuff with that. And on Zoom today, that's kind of our modern day event. So yes. Sam, I'm not sure if you're referring to DONN as me, but I'm Don with 1 N. But I don't know if there's something you're asking. All I see is my name. Thank you.
Sorry, Don, I have another question really fast. With your geo farm, I'm sorry, this is dumb and it's just because I'm new. Should you be working in an area that you desire to work in, or working in the area basically that's close to where you live?
I would take an area that I want to work and that I know is an appropriate area. I want to make sure there's enough turnover. I want to make sure there's not some major competitor. I can't remember if we talked about that yesterday or today, but I did talk about that a little bit. And that is, I want to make sure that there's nobody that is a dominant force. And I think it was yesterday, because I remember saying, I don't care if Coldwell Banker's got 40% market share, as long as it's not Jerry Jones with Coldwell Banker that's got 40% market share. I can dislodge a company easily. People want to do business with a person, not a company. But if I've got a dominant player there, and I got to make sure there's enough turnover. So you see that people go sometimes for high-end properties, and then you realize that they're only turning at 2%. Like right now, our market in Austin is hot, 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 and our upper-end market is not. And so you could be sitting there with, 4 listings that aren't selling, spending a lot of money. You could end up with You could end up with nobody selling their house because they're just not selling. Because we only have 2% of the people. So you have to really look at the turnover. When I look at turnover, I always look for 5% minimum, 6 is great. But if I get in the 7, 8, 9, 10% range, oh my gosh. And by the way, most often you're gonna see that stuff amongst lower end pricing homes and also amongst condos. Condos really turn at a much higher rate. So you might guess why we kind of moved Allison into the condo Contessa realm, because we were finding buildings that were turning at 10, 12%. I mean, it's crazy.
How did you say you find that information again about the turnover percentage?
Well, you can find it through your MLS, and you're going to go in and get the addresses and then find out how many homes, like you're doing comps. It's kind of like doing comps. You're going to find out what homes turned over, what condos turned over, what homes turned over in that area, just like you're doing comps. And then you're going to figure out who sold them. You're going to get all those board stats. And if you're working with a title person, if you're not, you should start finding your title partner and your lender partner and all that. They should be able to help you with that.
You're awesome. Thanks again.
Okay, guys, I think I got to head out. I'm not sure if Sunny's here, but I think I had a meeting that was sometime at the end of this. So, everybody, thank you for being here. We still got 71 people in the room. It's really shocking, but thank you for sticking out. Did I bring it? Did we get it done right today?
Don,
Yeah.
did you say that it will be there will be a recording of this this presentation at some point?
Yeah. So the university, East University, does that. You might want to mute. Somebody needs to mute.